You didn't click this video by accident. In fact, nothing about this moment is random. Right now, as you're sitting here, something deep within you knows that this message was meant to find you. Maybe it was the title, maybe the thumbnail, or maybe ... Just maybe something bigger is at work. You've felt it, haven't you? Those quiet urges, the repeated numbers, the sudden chills, dreams that felt more real than reality. And the question that keeps haunting you, is this all there? You're not crazy, you're not lost, you're waking up. This message is not here to entertain you. It's here to remind you of who you really are. And by the end of this story, you might not look at your life the same way again. There was once a boy named Eli, a quiet soul, thoughtful. He spent more time watching the stars than staring at screens. He lived in a sleepy town, surrounded by hills, the kind of place where life moved slow and stories repeated. But inside Eli, something was always shifting. From his earliest years, Eli felt out of place. Not because the world was wrong, but because it didn't match what he felt inside. He would ask questions that made adults uncomfortable. He'd dream of faces he had never seen in real life. He'd wake up with tears in his eyes from emotions he couldn't name. He carried a weight that no one could see, and in knowing that no one understood. And then one day he met Luma. She arrived like a whisper, gentle, unnoticed by most, a traveler, a storyteller, a woman with galaxies in her eyes and a notebook full of strange symbols. She saw Eli sitting under an old oak tree and simply sat beside him without a word. They didn't speak at first. They didn't need to. He felt like he had known her forever. And when she finally did speak, her words changed everything. "You're not broken," she said. "You're just remembering." "Remembering what?" he asked. "Why you came." Amma taught him things no school ever could. About energy, about symbols, about signs that the universe uses to speak to us. Feathers on windowsills, numbers repeating on clocks. Goosebumps with no cold wind. The silence between words. She told him the world was more alive than anyone dared admit. That everything was connected by light. That every soul was here for a purpose. That forgetting was part of the journey. And remembering that was the beginning of the return. She gave him a small crystal. It glowed faintly like a hidden fire. "When the world gets loud," she said, "hold this. It will remind you." And then, just as suddenly as she came, she disappeared. Years passed, Eli grew, life became noise again. School, friends, work, responsibilities, disappointments, successes that felt hollow. He tucked the crystal away. Forgot the oak tree. He stopped watching the stars. But the emptiness never left. That quiet ache. That sense of something missing then. Everything fell apart. A job lost. A relationship ended. His health failing. Panic attacks. Sleepless nights. One night, while digging through an old drawer, he found the crystal. It was still warm. And suddenly he remembered. Not just Luma, not just the tree, but himself. He sat in silence. No distractions. Just the stars. And for the first time in years, he asked the universe a question. Why am I here? And though no words came, the answer flooded him like light. A knowing. A remembering. The signs came back. 11:11. Feathers. Dreams. He began to write again messages that poured from him like rivers. Stories he didn't understand but felt deeply true. People began to find him. Strangers who said his words had found them in moments of despair. Letters arrived with no sender, thanking him for saving lives. He realized then the messages weren't just for him. He wasn't the only one remembering. Others began to appear. People who glowed with a soft awareness. A nurse who could see light around the dying. A musician who had survived suicide and heard songs in silence. They called themselves Lightkeepers. Each one had faced darkness. One had broken. And each one had come back, not to be perfect, but to guide. Together. They created a space for the lost and the remembering. Not a religion, not a system, just a space. A whisper in a loud world. Lighthouse. But as more light rose, so did the shadows. Eli began to see figures in dreams, empty eyes, mirrors with no reflections. Whispers saying, "Go back to sleep." Doubts grew. Fear returned, but he held the crystal. He remembered Luma's voice, even when you forget. He fasted. He walked into nature. He sat on the hill where ley lines met, a place he had seen in dreams, and there he saw the vision, a web of light. Souls igniting one by one, each flame lighting another. He saw that he was not a leader, not a savior, just a spark. A mirror. The message flowed through him. He returned and began to speak again, but with humility, with clarity, with purpose. Not everyone listened. Some mocked, some feared, but a few remembered. And among them, ... Was you? You were not reading this by accident. Something brought you here. A click, a whisper, a moment of synchronicity, and now you know you are remembering too. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to listen. The universe speaks in whispers, in symbols, in synchronicities. This was one of them, so breathe, be still, and remember, you are not broken. You are not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be, and your light, it's needed now. Someone out there is waiting for your message, and when they receive it, say the words you just did. This message was sent for me.